Thank you. Okay, Vav Amud Beis. Zok the Gemara. We said Hilchzak Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha yesterday. The difference between Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha and everybody else is that he says that Chiddush and Milva al Peh is nifrain mehen meishu kameitzi b'yadam. We said even though we have this worry that before their holidays they're going to give thanks to their gods, at the end of the day, if you have a milva al peh with a goy, you're allowed to collect it because we push off that chashash for the fact that otherwise you won't be able to collect it at all because you don't have a star. That was Hilchzak Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha. Hilchzak Rabbi Yehuda, what was that? So on the bottom. Rabbi Yehuda detanya hanosein semer litzava litzvo lo edom vitzavo shachor. Shachor v'tzivo edom. Rabbi Meir omer nosin lo demei tomorrow. Rabbi Yehuda omer imeshevach yisrael itziyah nosin lo tzayitiyah v'yimetziyah niser ala shavach nosin lo shavach. So what's the case? I give you a piece of white wool, and I ask you to please make me a beautiful jacket like that. And I say I want it to be red, and you make it black, and you make it red. So what happens? Rabbi Meir says, what do you do? Well, since you changed it, by changing it from white to a different color, whatever color that is, whatever change you cut, you changed it. So at the end of the day, you acquired it, and therefore you just pay me for the white semer that I gave you, and Lamai say you keep whatever else it is. Rabbi says that's not fair. That means you're basically just making money. You got free delivery. Different Rishonim explain different ways. You get free delivery. I bring you white wool. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to buy it. He says no, that's not pshat. Rabbi Yehuda says what happens is we see. Let's say the piece of wool, according to Rabbi Meir. So you pay me $200 for the white wool, whatever it's worth now, even if it's worth $1,000 dyed, you keep that. According to Yehuda, we don't care what the wool was worth originally. We care how much you spent and how much the wool is worth now. We don't care. Like if I would give you white wool, I would hire you. I would say, pay me. I'll give you $500 and just make it black. And I know whatever it's going to cost, it'll be worth more than the cost of the wool plus the $500 for the black. I'll be able to resell it. But over here, what I do is I give you the wool. And now, let's say we agree that I pay you $500 to dye it for me. But now you spend $200. Your cost is $200 to dye it for me. So we were originally all happy. I was going to pay you $500. The wool will be worth a lot more money. You'll make your $500, even though it only cost you $200, fine. But now, if it cost you $200 to make the wool, and you were charging me $500, but $200 was the expenses for all of the materials and everything, and now when you dye it the wrong color, now this wool is worth $300, so I get the wool for $300, you get your $200, and that's it. No sin lo etza yitzia. V'ma yitzia yisera ala shevach. But if the yitzia, if what you spent is more than what the value in the wool went up, I'm not going to pay you what you spent. No sin lo etza shevach. So basically, in English or in Hebrew, this means yado al hatachtona. First opinion is you acquire it, and that's it. It belongs to you, and whatever profit you made, you get to profit. Now, Yehuda says that's not fair. Why should you profit on the wool that you did the wrong thing with? Therefore, Lamaisa yitziyadu ala tachtona, and you need to pay me whatever is more. Whether it's worth more now, you pay me then if the shevach is more than the yitziyah, I pay you the yitziyah, and I get the wool. And if the yitziyah is worth more than the shevach, I pay you the shevach. But either way, I end up with the wool according to Rabbi Yehuda. That's the difference. Rabbi Meir says you end up with the wool, and Rabbi Yehuda says I get my wool back. The question is how much am I paying for the wool? I'm paying the least amount of money, either the cost or how much it went up in value by putting it the wrong color, but I'm going to get back my wool. Says the Gemara, Rav Yosef Lapei, Rav Yosef was very upset. Bishlam alach Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha yitzterech sagdai dechamini yachid rabim alach karabim kamash malan alacha ki yachid. Rav Yosef was very upset with these two statements of Rav Huna that the halach is like Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha and the halach is like Rabbi Yehuda. I understand why you need to tell me the halach is like Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha, that if it's a milva peh, so over there you can collect it even right before their holidays. I understand why you need to tell me that because it's Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha versus who? Versus the Rabbanan. And if it's Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha ben the Rabbanan, who do you think we're going to paskin like? The Rabbanan. We need Rav Huna to come along and say we paskin like Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha in that case. But over here, what's it? It's Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda versus Rabbi Meir. Who do we paskin like? We paskin like, seemingly like, well, let's see. Says the Gemara, Kamash Malan halacha ki yachid. Says the Gemara, El halacha Rabbi Yehuda lamali. Pshita de machlokes v'achar kach stam hilchzak stam. We have this machlokes here, Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda. So he comes along, Rav Huna, and says, we paskin like Rabbi Yehuda. Says the Gemara, why do you have to tell me that? What do you mean? We have another brisa later on after this brisa. We have another brisa later on. This brisa, if you look at the Zayin, is Baba Kama. We have another brisa later on in Baba Metzia, which comes next, which tells us stam like Rabbi Yehuda. What does it say? Machlokas Baba Kama, that's this machlokas, who stam Baba Metzia did not kol ha-mishane. If you change the wool, yadu al yona, that's yadu al tachtona. That's exactly what Rabbi Yehuda was saying. You pay me or I have to pay you the tachtona, whatever is less. If the yitzia was less, I pay you the yitzia. If the shevach was less, I pay you the shevach. But you have a clear thing, v'chol hachozer bo yoda tachtona. That's a separate thing if you renege on a deal. But you have a clear stam mishnah here that's passing like Rabbi Yehuda. So what's the chiddush of Rav Huna is coming and saying that we passing like Rabbi Yehuda? We don't need him to tell us that. For Rav Huna, mishum de ain't seder lemishnah. Rav Huna holds that there's no seder lemishnah. Just because one thing comes before another thing doesn't mean that it's machlokes v'achak stam. It could be stam v'achak machlokes. Maybe the stam came first. So anytime you have basically, according to him, it seems like you can't learn machlokes v'achak stam. Dikol meimar stam tana bereish. V'achak machlokes. Maybe Baba Kama really comes after Baba Metzia. Not that it comes after, but maybe that brisa was taught in the base medrash, because that's really what we're trying to figure out. What was taught first in the base medrash? We don't know. Just because it ended up in Baba Kama doesn't mean that it was taught before Baba Metzia. So how can we have a pasuk? We have this rule. You need to agree, Rav Huna, that there's a rule that machlokes v'achar kach stam, we pasuk like the stam. So what do you mean? We're just throwing out that rule? No. Rav Huna ki lo amrinan ein seder bechad mesachta. Betrei mesachta amrinan. When you have two different mesachtas, so you say stam v'achar machlokes v'achar stam, you pasuk like the stam. When you don't say it, is bechad mesachta. That means betrei mesachta, you say ein seder lemishnah. But by one mesachta, you don't say ein seder lemishnah. Means if you have one mesachta, Baba Kama, and there's two things in Baba Kama, we don't know exactly which parak they put it in, why they put it in each parak, so you can't prove anything from machlokes and then a stam. But if you have Baba Kama and then Baba Metzia, then you would say what? Then you would say that you would be able to say ein seder lemishnah. I'm sorry. I did that before also in the first year. Kilo amrinan, yeah, because it's the double negative. Kilo amrinan ein seder bechad mesachta. Betrei mesachta amrinan lo seder. By two mesachtas, Baba Kama and Baba Metzia, which is the case here, we say ein seder lemishnah. There's no seder, and just because it's in Baba Kama doesn't mean that it came first, and therefore maybe in this case where you have the machlokas and Baba Kama and the stam and Baba Metzia, the stam really came first, and then the machlokas, and everybody's confused, comes along Rav Huna and says, we pass like Rabbi Yehuda. Where do I agree that there is a seder lemishnah within one mesachta? I agree. Yes, correct. For Rav Yosef, and Rav Yosef will tell you no. Kula nezikin chada mesachtahi. Rav Yosef might agree, which is fascinating. Rav Yosef might agree that it's true that betrei mesachta amrinan ain't seder lemishnah, but within mesachta he would say, within one mesachta he says that there is a seder lemishnah. So Rav Yosef says, yeah, but Baba Kama, Baba Metzia, and Baba Basra are all really one mesachta. And we split them up, and therefore, Baba Metzia, Baba Basra, Baba Kama, Baba Metzia, Baba Basra, you would say that there is a seder lemishnah. If there's a seder lemishnah between Baba Kama and Baba Metzia, then if it came in Baba Kama as a machlokas and Baba Metzia as a stam, you don't have to tell me that the halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda. That's the machlokas. V'hi same, or you could say.
But the only reason they did this, they didn't want gemaras to be more than 10 prakim.
Why was that?
The thing was 10 prakim. They try to keep it to 10 prakim. So
really?
Makos is a different masechah
than Sanhedrin. Interesting.
The 11th. So it's really a lot of it is man-made. It's not.
No, of course.
And that's the whole point of this dispute.
Right. I'm not exactly sure. For Rav Yosef, v'i ba'yisema.
What's more important is the seders, right?
V'i ba'yisema mishum diktani lagabi hilchsa psikta. Another reason that Rav Yosef was upset, then that's one reason. Because one reason he'll say, you have to say, machlokes v'achak stam, be passing like stam when it's one mesachta, Baba Kama, Baba Metzia, one mesachta. Therefore, we don't need you to tell us that the halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda. He'll say back to him, it's two mesachtas, therefore you need to tell me. Fine. That's one. Another possible reason why Rabbi Yosef was upset is mishum diktani lagabi hilchsa psikta. Kol ha-mishana yada ala tachtona v'chol ha-choze bo yada ala tachtona. This thing in Baba Metzia, forget about which is in order, which is not in order. Forget about which one comes first and which one doesn't come first. This thing in Baba Metzia, says the Gemara, says Rav Yosef, is in the middle of nothing to do with it. It means it's basically like I'm having a conversation with you, and parenthetically I say some random statement that Kol ha-mashana yadu ala tachtona. The fact that the Gemara brought that in, the fact that the compilers of the Gemara brought that in the middle of something that had nothing to do with it, shows you that they were telling you, by the way, the halacha is like this. So therefore, it doesn't matter if it came first, if it came last. If it's there, once it was in there, it says the halacha is like this. Once the halacha is like this, you don't need to tell me that Rabbi Yehuda says that. You don't need to tell me, Rav Huna doesn't need to tell me that the halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda. That was Rabbi Yosef's problem. Says the Gemara, Tana Rabbanan. Lo yomar adam lechaveiro, I cannot say to you on Shabbos, hanireh, atanireh, havo navo, come, shetamori miler, come stand next to me tonight. After Shabbos, i.e., come do malacha for me after Shabbos.
Can't talk business on Shabbos.
Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha Omer, You can say to your friend, come, please stand with me and we'll do malacha after Shabbos. What's the difference? You're not saying let's do malacha, but you're basically hinting to him that you're going to go ahead. Let's see. Lo yomar lo b'Shabbos. Rashi seems to imply you're actually saying Hanireim tamod imi la'erev lasos b'melachti la'erev. Please stand next to me to do the work after Shabbos. So what's the machlokes over here? So the Rashi, I have a Musaf Rashi which explains based on the Gemara and Shabbos. It quotes other Gemaras. So he explains this Gemara. The Rashi over there says that both of them know that he's hiring him, but he's not telling him specifically, come do malacha for me. It was like code words. He is mentioning malacha, but he's saying like, it would seem to me maybe you'll stand next to me.
I'll see you later.
So we know that the pasuk says v'daber davar. So the question is v'daver. That's a different thing. That's a different thing because one second. That's a different thing because even though I wouldn't go to a hockey game on Shabbos, one can argue that watching a hockey game, one can argue that that's not usher, quote unquote. You're not doing any malacha when you're watching a hockey game.
We can't quote that.
It's ovda dechol. It's ovda dechol. But one can say that it's not. What's the malacha? There's no actual malacha involved. But if I say, come over after Shabbos, if I say hanireh, it seems to me that you'll stand next to me to drive my car after Shabbos. And there's a whole discussion on halacha l'maisa. You could say, I'm going out on Motzei Shabbos, but you shouldn't say, I'm going to pick you up in the car on Motzei Shabbos. You could say, we're going to go out tonight. It might not be right, v'davar davar, but in terms of mentioning it, again, there's also things that are not Shabbos, like mentioning anything about after Shabbos, not Shabbos. But in terms of this pasuk of v'daber davar, you can't say, I'm going to do a malach after Shabbos. You could say, I'm going to go to the movie tonight, or I'm going to go out with you tonight, but you shouldn't say, I'm going to pick you up in the car tonight. But the point is that over here, he's saying, since you're not mentioning any malacha, Rabbi Yoshua ben Karcha, this seems to be part of that machlokes. Rabbi Yoshua ben Karcha says, even though you're alluding to it, it's not v'davar davar. And the Tanakama would say, no, you shouldn't mention anything that alludes to malacha after Shabbos. Amar Rabbi Baruch Hanan, Rabbi Yochanan Hilchsak, Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha. Tanu Rabbanan.
Let's make you.
Listen carefully to this one. Listen to this one carefully. Hanisha l'chacham v'time. If you ask the rabbi a question and he tells you something, lo yisha l'chacham v'yitar. Don't go ask another rabbi. Okay. You heard that? L'chacham v'asar, lo yisha l'chacham v'yatir. Obviously, he's giving you that reason because he's not going to give you the other way because nobody's ever going to ask a question the other way. If he told you it's okay or he told you it's tar, nobody's going to go ask another rabbi.
You're done.
You have to know to ask. Most people will not go to ask. If you get a heter, you're not going to go ask another rabbi to double check the heter to make sure that it's really mutter.
I have many times.
Okay, fine. It's good.
Psychology.
Okay. Hanisha l'chacham v'time, lo yisha l'chacham v'yitar.
It's also Rebbe Muvak, no?
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see a second. He says, also you can't ask another one. Hayu shnaim. Let's say there are two sitting next to each other. Echad matame v'echad mitar, and they don't necessarily agree with each other. Echad osev v'echad matir. Im haya echad mehem gadol mechaveiro b'chachma v'minyan. Is one is smarter than the other. He's a bigger talmid chacham, and he's older, and maybe he's older. Maybe it's one or the other. But let's say he has both. Halach acharav. What?
Then the other guy's not supposed to say anything.
And the other guy probably shouldn't be saying anything. That's why holech acharav. You go after that guy. V'im lav, and if not, holech achar machmir. That means seemingly, maybe if one is more of a chachma, the other one's older. They're not exactly, it's not a clear cut who's older / more of a chacham. Then you go after the machmir. On this last point, seemingly, even though the Rishonim say he might be arguing on earlier as well, but seemingly on this last point, Rishonim ben Karcha says, Bishal Torah holech achar machmir. Bishal Sofrim holech achar mekil. In this case, where you have the two rabbis, if it's a Divar Torah, if it's Deoraisa, you go after the machmir one. If it's a Sofrim, Dirabanan, you go after the mekil one. This is not just here by asking a kasha. We know in general. Savik Deoraisa l'chumra, Savik Dirabanan l'kula. It's all part of the same idea. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yeshua, so the Gemara says, Rabbi Yosef Hilchatak Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha. If it's a Daraisa and two rabbis give you two different opinions, you got to go like the Machmir one. If it's a Darabanan, they give you two different opinions, you go like the Meka one. Tana Rabbanan, V'kulan shechazer ben emakal nosan olamis. Rashi says, Gazlanin and Amei Haaretz. If they do tshuva, you're not makabel osan. Now, what does that mean? What do you mean you're not makabel osan? What right do you have to decide if somebody did tshuva or not? So Rashi clearly says, Lachzikon b'toras chaveros lismoch alein. You have to decide in this world whether their tshuva is sincere or not. You have to decide whether you're going to be able to go ahead and accept their edus, whether you're going to be able to go ahead and accept their tum and tara when they tell you that the tum and tara, to be able to take away chumas and maisos. At the end of the day, we don't decide whether God accepted the tshuva, but we have to be able to make a decision in this world whether we can trust them for edus and the like. If we say somebody's pasal edus and they do tshuva, we've spoken about this many times in Sanhedrin, so you can't be makabel osan olamis. It sounds like a gaz and the Amei Haaretz, according to this, you cannot accept the tshuva, and they can never testify. Divrei Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Shua Omer chazu ben b'matmunios. If they go ahead and they're choser in private, in mekabel nosan. Befarhesi mekabel nosan. If it's in public, then you will be mekabel because then they're obviously sincere. Ikad amrei asu divrei betamtunis. It's not where they went ahead b'matmunios. It's not where they went ahead and sinned. It's where they went ahead and it's not where they went ahead and said that they were doing tshuva. It's where they sinned. If they did it in private mekabel nosan, it wasn't such a big chil Hashem. Befarhesia, if they do it in public, ain't mekabel nosan, because then they made a big chil Hashem. Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Shua ben Karcha, Amim, no, ben kach mekablin shenemar shuvu banim shovim. Hashem always wants to come back, and therefore, whether you did it in private or in public, whether you went ahead and did tshuva in private or in public, we will always accept a tshuva. Amr Yitzchak Yishkar Akko, Amr Yochanan, Hilchasa Ke'oso Azog.
So they can do either?
If they go ahead and do a real tshuva, and we decide that it's a sincere tshuva, then in Achanami we can accept their edus, etc. Good? What's the score?
This is the same one with Yoshka's Rebbe.
I'm not familiar.
It's too bad he didn't read this tomorrow.
Was that his Rebbe?
No, but
Rabbi Shua ben Prachi. Oh, Prachi, not Prachi. Sorry.
This is Rabbi Shua ben Karcha.
Sorry.
It's okay. Zok the Gemara. Zok the Mishnah. Rabbi Shmuel Omer. So what did we say in our Mishnah? On the first Mishnah we said you don't do business with them 3 days before the holiday. And we went back and forth, 3 days with the holiday, 3 days, and we paskined yesterday, 3 days not including the holiday. So the 3 days before, you cannot do business with them. Now Rabbi Shmuel Omer, Shlosha lifneim u'shlosha acharei, so not just 3 days before, 3 days afterwards, which seemingly would be not the holiday itself, but the 3 days afterwards. V'chachamim omrim lifnei yidein aser, la'achar yidein mutter. The Chachamim say that beforehand is aser, afterwards is not. Let's see. Amr of Tachliv Bar Avdim Amr of Shmuel. What we said yesterday.
They can't pray anymore. It's over.
Well, afterwards they could still pray, seemingly, maybe.
No, but the festival's over. They can't go to.
Oh, okay. So
that's why it's mutter.
So Rabbi Shmuel gives a different reason. Amr of Tachliv Bar Avdim Amr of Shmuel. Yom Aleph l'div Rabbi Shmuel la'olam aser. According to Rabbi Shmuel, who holds that every Sunday, as we mentioned yesterday, every Sunday is a holiday. According to him, you can never go ahead and you can never do any business with Goyim, because if you do business with them on Sunday, if Sunday's a holiday, if you do business Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 3 days after. If you do business with them Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 3 days before. So you can never do business with them, assuming that every Sunday is a holiday.
But again, this is not Christians. It says specifically, Meir said it's not Christians.
Okay.
Well, that's what it's.
What? I mean, we used to. They still have them.
Same thing here also.
They still have them in Jersey. They still have in certain places. Certain places they still have the blue laws.
It's okay. Of what?
That were in Jersey, the malls were not allowed to be open on Sunday.
It's called the Lord's Day Act.
They don't have them anymore.
Many years.
V'chachamim omin lifnei yidein aser, la'achar yidein mutter. The Chachamim say it's only aser before the yidein. So the Gemara wants to know, Chachamim hainu tanakama, what's the difference? In the Mishnah, in Beis, it said that 3 days before, you can't do business, and now it's saying, Chachamim omin lifnei yidein aser. Afterwards, not a problem, but lifnei zah. What do you mean? It's the same exact opinion. Says the Gemara, no, there's a few possible nafkaminas. Hein below idei anika b'nai. Now the problem is, they're not clear, the nafkaminas. All we know is that over there it says 3 days before, and over here it doesn't say anything about 3 days. It just says lifnei idei and aser. So let's see the nafkaminas. No, hein below idei anika b'nai. One possible difference is whether you include the festival or not. Tanakama savar, as we proved yesterday, hein below idei. And we said yesterday that based on their words, lifnei idei shlosha yamim, we learned it's specifically 3 days before. For Rabbanan Basrai, these Rabbanan here, Savrei Hein V'Iden, they would include it because over here they don't say anything. They don't say that it's 3 days specifically before. Therefore, if they're saying Lifnei Iden is Asr, that would include the festival as well. That's one possible difference. What happens if you actually do business illegally when you weren't supposed to? Can you keep the money? Can you get hana from the money? Tanakam Savar, the Tanakam in that Mishnah and Beis says Nasav and Natan Mutter. We can infer from there that it would actually be Mutter. For Rabbanan Basrai Savar Nasav and Natan Asr. Rashi explains why. Because what does it say over there? It says you can't do business with them. It specifies doing business with them. Doing business with them is Asr. What does that imply? Lechatchila, doing business with them is Asr. B'diavad, it would be okay to keep the money. Here, where it doesn't mention, it just says Asr across the board. Seemingly, it would be Asr across the board, even after the fact. Maybe Shmuel is a difference. Again, it's just giving possible differences. To Amar Shmuel, Begola ein Asr el Yom Edom. That's interesting. Outside of Eretz Yisrael, they're not so from. So outside of Eretz Yisrael, they go ahead.
From or we're not so from?
Both. But outside Eretz Yisrael, they're not so from. Over there, they don't serve Avodah Zarah the same way. Therefore, it's usher to do business with them on their holidays themselves. Tanakama Islay Dishmuel. Tanakama would say that in the Gola it would only be usher on the Yom Edom. Rabbanan over here, Basrai would say Leslie Dishmuel. They would say it's the same thing. How do you know that it's the same thing? Well, because over here, let's see, Rabbanan Basrai Leslie Dishmuel, a few lines up on the left. Dechevan de lo Messiah behedya b'may pligay ikal lememer letfuye yasu deshamina letana kama de kamar lifnei dein asu lases velases himan ustama de milsa etc. etc. The fact that these people are coming next. There's another svara. Again, these are all svaras. But the fact that we already have in the Mishnah that says it's us to do business with them 3 days before their holidays. And now they're coming and they're adding something. They're saying something else is aser. So what does that mean? It sounds like the Gemara is learning that additional thing that's aser is that in the Tanakama, in the Mishnah, it said that outside of Eretz Yisrael, only on the day of the holiday. But this opinion is coming saying outside Israel, even 3 days beforehand as well. Iba Yisema de Nachum Hamadi Ikaminayu. Our good friend Nachum Hamadi, Rashi, yes?
We finished the Rashi. That was it.
You want me to finish Rashi? I can finish Rashi. I gave you the thing. Dechevet la Messiah be'edya b'may pligi. Ikalameimar litfuye yasu. Deshamin l'tanakama dekamar lifnei dein aser lases v'lases iman. Ustama demilsa kishe'ein yad ovdei kochav tchifa Yisrael. This is a different shot. Rashi is giving a little bit of a different understanding over here. He's saying that the Stam Demilsa is when they don't rule over the Jewish people. That's a different shot. That's a little bit different about ruling over. Over here, I was just saying, Pashup shot is that Lamaisa, he would say that since these people are adding an additional Isser, there they say that it's only the day of. And over here, they're adding an additional Isser that is 3 days before in the Gola as well. Now, what does Nachum Hamadi say? Detani Nachum Hamadi Omer, Eino Aser Eli Yom Echad Lifnei Den. He comes along and argues on the whole thing. It says only 1 day before. So Tanakama Leslei de Nachum Hamadi. The Rabbanan Basrai Islei de Nachum Hamadi. Again, these are all possible things. You can't put all these together. These are all possible suggestions. What would that be? Because it says specifically in the Mishnah Shlosha Yamim. Here it just says Aser. So one can argue that in the Mishnah the Chachamim would hold Shlosha Yamim before, and here where it says Aser it would only be 1 day. Again, all possible suggestions. But these are possible ikabinayus to assume that this Mishnah is not the same Chachamim as the Mishnah in our beginning of the Masechta. Gufa, poor Nachum Hamadi, as we're about to see. He's one of those guys, you always have that guy that everybody picks on. So he's that guy that everybody's going to pick on. Nachum Hamadi Omer, Eino Asr Eli Yomecha Lifnei Dein, Amru Lo Nishtake Hadavar Velo Namar. Rashi says either Lo Yatza Davar Zem Piyadim La'olam. Nobody has ever said this before, for good reason. Or, this should never leave the walls of this base medrash. Please don't let your opinion get outside of the walls. Either way, they were basically shooting him down. You just said that there's a possibility that these Chachamim in this Mishnah hold like Nachum Hamadi. You just said there's a possibility that they hold like him and that they hold that it's only 1 day before. Man Chachamim, very nice. Nachum Hamadi. If that's a Chachamim in this Mishnah, then that's actually Nachum Hamadi supporting his own opinion. So please don't let it get out of the base medrash. Lamaisa, it's more than 1 day is going to be a problem.
That's why we close the door.
That's why we close the door, so nobody should hear. That's not why, but okay. Tanya Idach.
Except for
This is the hardest part of today, so please pay attention. Nachum Hamadi Yomer, Mocher lahen sus zachar zakein ba'milchama. You can sell an old male sus, and it's unclear. The Rishonim discuss, as you'll see in a second, Rishonim will discuss why he needed to say a male and not a female, but an old male sus, we're going to concentrate on the old part, b'milchama, to a non-Jew during war. Amrulo nishtaka davar v'lo nemar. What are you talking about? Says the Gemara, I'll explain it in a second. Vayika ben Beseira dekai kavase. What do you mean nishtaka davar? We see that ben Beseira actually supports and says the same thing as Nachum Hamadi. Ditnan ben Beseira matir basus. Ben Beseira lets you with all susim. We'll see that that's not exactly the same thing. Says the Gemara, the answer no. The difference is ben Beseira lo mafli bein zecharim l'nekevos. Ben Beseira is talking about all susim. Ihu Nachum is midika mafli bein zecharim l'nekevos kirabanan svirulei ulurabanan nishtaka davar v'lo nemar. What exactly is going on over here? Let's see Rashi. Says Rashi, even though Rashi is not so easy either, but let's see Rashi. What is Nachum Hamadi saying? Mocher lahen sus zachar zakein b'toch hamilchama. You could sell it during the war, which seems like in general you can't sell a sus to a non-Jew. She'eino ela lakalkel. You could sell it during the war because it's going to be ruined anyway. It's going to die. Umilsa de lo shchichahu. It's not shchiach that people sell horses. Why? V'lo asi lamelach mina limkor behema achrisi. And we're not going to come to sell other behemoths. The Hamrin and Rabbanan as we'll see later on, in mochalan behema gasa lo asru elamishum she'ela o schiros kedamar pirkin klaman. You can't sell a behema gasa ever to a non-Jew because of she'ela o schiros. V'hacha b'milsa del shicha lo gaz rabbanan. What is Rashi talking about? So Rashi is talking about the following: you're not allowed to sell a behema gasa, which would be like a cow or a donkey or the like, to a non-Jew ever. Why? Lest one come to rent or lend this behema to a non-Jew. What's wrong with lending or renting the behema to a non-Jew? Well, what are they going to do with it on Shabbos? Malacha. What's the isra of malacha? Ata bincha ubitacha abdecha v'amascha uvemtecha. If you sell it to a non-Jew, it would be fine. But it's like Xera, you can't sell it to a non-Jew lest one come to lend it to a non-Jew or rent it to a non-Jew. It's still considered to be in halacha your animal. When he works with it on Shabbos, your animal is doing work on Shabbos, which is aser. Very nice. That seemingly includes a horse. Lest one come to sell a behema gaso. Or one can suggest, one cannot give a horse because lest one come to do malacha. If I give you my horse, then you're going to do malacha with the horse on Shabbos. So why is it okay during the time of milchama? Because an old male horse, which is sold during war, as Rashi is explaining, will probably end up dying. People are not going to make an inference from a case that's out of the ordinary. An old male horse, we know that he's specifically selling it, it's going to die anyway tomorrow. So nobody's going to say, oh, he could sell a horse here, but milchama. Clearly we could sell a horse normally, which will get us to lead to what? To lend horses to the non-Jews. So therefore it comes out again, this is an exception to the rule according to Nachamadi. You could specifically sell a horse in this case, but in general, again, one should know that one's not allowed to sell a horse, seemingly according to this, or sell another behema to a non-Jew, lest one come to rent or lend it to them, in which case you'll be over the Yisra Malach on Shabbos. They threw this out and said, ridiculous. We said, we have Ben Beseira. Well, Ben Beseira, as we're about to reject, Ben Beseira is talking about a different case. What does it mean when it says Ben Beseira Matir Besus Rashi? Lefisha Melachto Lirchov Adam. Ben Beseira allows all susim all the time. All susim all the time. What's the problem with the other behemoths? The behemoths gasa is that they can actually use it for malacha deraisa, for sowing, SOW, for going ahead and plowing. What are they going to use a horse for? Right. They're going to use a horse for riding. What's the malacha involved in riding? It's only malacha derabanan. Or less, we say you can't ride a horse on Shabbos because you might knock off some of the trees or something. But it's only derabanan. For derabanan, he says horses are always okay. But it's clearly not, for our purposes, one second, that's not supporting Nachum Hamadi. Nachum Hamadi was coming from a totally different angle. Ben Beseira is saying that horses in general across the board are mutter to sell to a non-Jew or to lend it out or to rent it, because they're not going to be doing malacha with it anyway. Nachum Hamadi would not say that. Nachum Hamadi would say it's usher in general. By milchama, it's an exception. And therefore you don't have a support for Nachum Hamadi, and therefore we would say, nishtaka hadavar velo namar. Yes?
Milchama could be a doraisa, which could trump a derabanan.
Why is it a doraisa?
Malchatnas go up in that fashion. They're going to war to save me. So if I can give my animal to go save me from war, it's more important than they're going to ride it.
Well, again, that's a whole other discussion. Who are you selling it to?
A goy who's
you might be selling it. How do you know you're selling it to a goy who's protecting? But how do you know? But the key of the milchama is that the horse is about to die anyway, and you're not going to learn from it. That's the key here. The key is not that it's a milchama versus anything else. It's that this horse is going to die as soon as you sell it. It's going to go to battle. It's an old horse, and it's going to die and get shot in like a day from now, and therefore we're not going to learn anything from now. But who said you're selling it to a? Who said you're selling it in a war that a Jew's involved in? It could be that there are two nations that are fighting with each other, and you're selling it to one of the nations.
Even so, that's even better for us.
Right, but the point is that it's going to be mutter there because it's going to die. It's not because they're protecting you. It's because that horse is going to die, and if that horse is going to die, we're not learning anything from that horse. Okay, Zok the Gemara. Tanya.
How do you lease cars to Jews if you're a leasing car business?
Rent a car.
Rent a car to Jews in a rental car business. They're driving them on Shabbos.
Well, forget about lifnei iver. If you actually belong,
this kiddush thing.
No, but this is not a lifnei iver thing. This is it's actually your behema.
Yeah.
It's not actually lifnei iver. It's like you're doing the malacha.
If it's a jalopy, it's okay for Shabbos.
What?
If it's going to
What?
die.
All the cabs. If you want to
Anything. Yeah, no, you're right. Tanya, Nachum Amadi Omer, Hasheves mitaser. What's sheves? Dill. How do you know that? Oh. Hasheves mitaser. Zera v'yerek v'zirin. You have to take off meiser, whether it's in seed form, vegetable form or shoots form. That means there are 3 different ways to eat dill. I usually eat dill the way that I know it, but there are 3 different ways to eat dill: as a seed, as a vegetable, and as a shoot. When do you take off meiser? When it's the gemar pri, when it's the end of the growth. Well, the Gemara here, Nachamadi, is saying that there are 3 ends, that since there are different ways to eat it, you can consider each one of those the end of the process, however you like to eat it. Amrulo nishtaka davlo nemar, ridiculous. Vayikar Rabbi Eliezer dekai kavasi nan Rabbi Eliezer omer hasheves mitaseret zera v'yerek v'zirin, says the Gemara, hasam bidagnu nisa. No, there's a difference that Rabbi Eliezer is talking about in a gan. When you grow your own dill, then the minhag is for everybody to eat it whenever it's ready, and therefore you would take meiser off, because each stage for whenever you ever ended up eating it, that's the gemara pri. But wild dill in general, wild dill is only eaten once it hardens, and you can take out the seed, the dill seeds, and if you take wild dill and you eat it as a shoot or you eat it as a vegetable, einachanami, you will not take off meiser because you're using it before it's the gemara pri. Zok the Gemara. Amalei Rabacha bar Menyumi Labaye. Poor Nachum Amadi. Gavra Rabba Asame Asrin. This Gavra Rabba Nachum Amadi came from Mada. Kol Milsa da Amar Amri Le Nishtagad Arvelo Nemar. Every time he opens up his mouth, everybody says, "Stop talking. What are you talking about?" Amar, he says, "Okay, fine. Ikachada Davdinan Kavase. You know what? We're going to tell him to keep his mouth shut, but we'll pass like him one time." Titania Nachum Amadi Omer Shoel Adam Tzracha B'Shomei Tefillah. And this is the basis of what we were just talking about. Halacha l'maaseh. Daf Yomi always comes up exactly when you're discussing things. It's amazing. It's amazing. Halacha l'maaseh. We were talking about this before, about asking for rain. Shoel adam tzracha b'shomei tefillah. And that's why if you look at shomei tefillah in the siddur, that's where you ask for parnasa, that's where you ask for all the other things. Refuah, you can put anything in. You can put things anywhere, but that's a spot.
This is trachav, not the rabbin.
Shoel adam tzracha b'shomei tefillah.
It's personal.
Well, seemingly the rabbin we could ask anywhere for sure, but you could ask tzracha anywhere, but you should ask for your tzracha b'shomei tefillah. Amar, so that's where we pass like him. Amar, good try. Bar mina dahi. We're not going to learn that one. Detalya ba'ashli ravave. He's not arguing with anybody there. He's just quoting the chachamim. He's hanging himself on these strong pillars already. The chachamim already hold like that, and l'maaseh poor Nachum Amadi, we're still not going to hold like. Says the Gemara, Titania, where do we see this whole idea of Shoel Adam Tzrach b'Shomei Tefillah? We'll just end with this. Rabbi Eliezer Omer, Shoel Adam Tzrachav v'yachar kach yispalel. You should ask and then daven Shemon Esrei. Shenemar Tefillah la'ani ki yatov. You ask Tefillah la'ani v'lifnei Hashem yishboch sicho. Ve'in sicha ela Tefillah. After you ask for your tzrachim, then you daven. Shenemar vayetze yitzchak l'tzuach basadas. Rabbi Eliezer says, ask and then daven to Hashem. Rabbi Shua Omer yispalel, daven first, seemingly like we do, where you go in Shevach and Odah to Kadosh Baruch Hu, yispalel Shemon Esrei v'achakach, in the middle or at the end of Shemon Esrei, yishal tzrachav. Sheneshba, Shnemar, first eshboch lefanav sichi, then sarasi lefanav agid. Rabbi Eliezer nami yaksiv eshboch lefanav sichi, seems like you should daven first. Hachi kamar, no, this is what it means. Eshboch lefanav sichi, bizman sarasi lefanav agid. You should go ahead and daven once the sarasi have you already told over. So really you should tell over your tzaros first. Rabbi Shua nami yaksiv tefillah li'ani ki yasov. Seems like you should go ahead and tell over your tzaros before you daven. Hachi kamar, ema say tefillah li'ani, when should you tell over your tzaros? Bizman shelifnei Hashem yishboch sicho. After you've already gone ahead and poured out your heart to Hashem. So therefore the Gemara says, Michte cry lo kamar daiki v'lo kamar daiki. Therefore you cannot go ahead and you can't make a diuk either way, because either pasuk can be learned like either one of them. Says the Gemara, so what are they arguing about? Whether you should daven first or whether you should ask first. Kididarish Rav Simlai. Kididarish Rav Simlai. L'olam yisader adam shifcho shel makom rakach yispal. You should always praise Hashem first, i.e. tefillah, and then you should daven, or you should praise and then you should daven. Milanan, where do you see that you should go ahead and praise and then daven? We're not asking about asking your own things here. Praise and then daven. Minalan mi Moshe Rabbeinu. Dichsiv, because it says Hashem Elokim atah chilos aleros es avdecha. First he praises Hashem. Uchsiv basrei eber naviras eretz hatova. Can I please go ahead into Eretz Yisrael? Rabbi Yeshua Sava. Rabbi Yeshua says Yalfinan mi Moshe. We learn from Moshe that what yispalel / give shevach v'achar kach. What? V'achar kach, you should ask for your things, right? What? First you should go and praise, and then you should ask your bakashos. Rabbi Eliezer savar lo yafina minosha. Rabbi Eliezer says what? Rabbi Eliezer says you should ask first, and then you should daven and praise Hashem. You don't learn from Moshe. Why? Shani Moshe dirav guvrai. Says Rashi. Rabbi Yeshua savar yalfinan mi Moshe lahazdir shevach tefila hilkach yispala yudchet tchila deika shevach betchila. Son first daven shmonesi, which has the shevach, and then ask. And he says the opposite. Rabbi Eliezer says don't do that. First ask, and then there's shevach. Why? What about Moshe Rabbeinu? Moshe Rabbeinu is different. Gedulas masa v'chachmasa rabba. V'noilo l'shabeach ulahadif b'shivcho shemelech malchei amlachim. Avalinish ba'al me michze ki yuhara. What's it going to look like? Yuhara. That's like you shouldn't wear tzitzis out in the thing. It looks like you're being haughty. Because what? You're going to go ahead and you're going to praise God, and we know why you're praising God. Not because you really want to praise God, but what? Because you want to ask for something. So when Moshe Rabbeinu did it, we knew that it was sincere. Says Rabbi Eliezer that when we do it, it's not going to look sincere. It's going to look like we're just praising him because we want to go ahead and ask him for something. Therefore, better to ask for him first and then praise him than to pretend or to praise him and it looks like you're pretending that you're praising and then go ahead and ask. Well, if God knows, so then at the end of the day, he knows either way.